Welcome to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm your host, Joy Taylor. We've got a busy show today. Skip, Shannon, let's get to it. Good morning, guys.
Not much to talk about today, Shannon.
Skip, I ain't up for your bull jive today, Skip. I'm not up for your bull jive, Skip.
Are you going to be a sore loser?
Are you looking for the answer to this question on your phone over
Skip,
there? The question of the day is, how about them Cowboys? That's the question. We need to answer that question because just little old me over here, I'm starting to feel real good. Just starting to feel real good about my Cowboys-Patriots Super Bowl prediction.
You're the most.
Just starting.
You're the most miserable winner that I've ever encountered.
It's a beautiful morning.
Really, Skip?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're well rested because you didn't have any miles and yak because you were nothing to celebrate.
I got some sleep.
Yeah, I was on that clear yesterday.
Yeah.
That Everclear.
It was a historically bad
No
one.
pain. I didn't feel nothing, Joy. I don't remember nothing. I woke up, my alarm been going off for like 5 minutes. I'm like, I'm dreaming.
Nope, got to get to work.
Here we go, Joy.
Let's do it.
Oh, yeah, let's do it.
I
I thought you would even do that today.
Why wouldn't I do
We
that?
have a packed show today. Michael Vick, Rob Ryan, Tony Gonzalez, and Reverend Jesse Jackson are all here with us today. But let's start with the Patriots. They blew out the Falcons 23-7 last night in a very foggy Super Bowl rematch. Tom Brady threw 2 touchdown passes to help New England win their 3rd straight. And the Patriots defense played their best game of the season, holding Matt Ryan to a season-low 233 passing yards. The Falcons have now dropped 3 in a row. Shannon, what did you learn last night?
I don't really think this game was a blowout. For me, if you're going to count on the field goal kicker, and Atlanta has one of the better ones in the NFL, doinking one off the upright from 36 yards, you're going to count on you blocking a field goal and 2 cracks from the 1-yard line and you not get the ball in, well, you can say the New England defense is back. I don't believe they're back. It showed me last night what the Patriots were able to do was keep Atlanta's offense off the field. They possessed the ball over 8 minutes more than what Atlanta had it. So if you're going to keep Matt Ryan and that high-flying offense off the field, now they're not what they were last year. But if you're going to minimize the amount of times they're going to possess the football, well, you can say, well, your defense is back. Now, I believe New England got away with a pass interference. I think it was early in the 3rd quarter on a deep play to Julio Jones. I think you and I both, Skip Bayless, can agree that was pass interference. It wasn't called. Okay.
I'll give you that one.
But these are the plays right here that you got to make. I mean, you got the Fisher. You're right there. You're right there on top of it. That's blatant pass interference, and you didn't call it. Okay. So now instead of that's a spot foul. You tell me how that's not pass interference. That's a spot foul. Missed field goal, blocked field goal, that's 6 points. Touchdown. Now,
Would Atlanta have won with that pass interference call?
we don't know. Maybe it changes the tide of the game. You never know. Sometimes, Skip, all it takes is a spark. All it takes is a momentum, a change of field position. And now all of a sudden they start to feel better about themselves. But this was about Atlanta. I don't believe the Patriots defense is back. Skip, can you answer me one question before I go any further? How does Steve Sarkisian keep failing up? I mean, they make it seem like this dude, Bill Belichick.
Well, he did help Alabama get to the championship.
No, he did not.
Yeah, and they scored a bunch of points in the championship game, and Ain't Nick's defense gave up a whole bunch of points in the championship game.
Stop it. But again, how does he keep failing up? Again, how did he even get in position to be on the Alabama staff, given what he had gone through? Given that sort of circumstances, how does he even get the job at Atlanta?
You mean his problems with alcohol off the field? Yeah. When he was USC's head coach.
Okay, let's set the alcoholism aside. You tell me what's in his resume saying, you know what, he should have gotten the job going back to USC, considering what he had done at Washington.
He had been there before, and he had impressed a whole lot of people with his offensive expertise. And he was known as one of the best play callers in college football when he was head coach at Washington. That's how he did it.
Oh, that's how he did it?
Yeah.
And so tell me what was Washington, now what Rose Bowl did they play in while he was calling the plays? Oh, okay.
Scored a lot of points.
Okay. And just too many mistakes on the Falcons' part. And I get it, and everybody's looking like, well, everybody was lighting up this Patriots secondary by throwing for all these yards. But that's not what the Falcons offense is. They're a balanced offense. They're getting 5.5 yards a clip. And when you're running that, when you're getting 5.5 yards a clip, why would you just ask Matt Ryan to throw it 50 times? I just thought the Falcons offense misfired when they had opportunities. Patriots got into the red zone, they scored. The Falcons were 1 for 4 on their red zone possessions, and that's the difference in the ball game. You can think the Patriots defense is back. I do not.
Okay. Before I address said defense, I'm going to address the quarterback that you did not mention who plays for the New England Patriots, because to me, I saw a New England team that has once again emerged right on schedule as the best team in pro football. That's the team I saw last night. And that's in large part because it still has the best quarterback in pro football history or pro football right here, right now. Because to me, that Tom Brady I saw last night is playing as great as he ever has at 40 years young. And it's stunning to me, and I think people get numb to what we're watching because, once again, I hope that even the Brady haters can appreciate. You have a little Brady hate in you. You have some respect, some hate.
No,
it's mixed emotions on your part. But I hope even the haters can realize what a privilege it is to still watch this man play at that level, at this age, in prime time. That was a clinic he put on again last night. That was another primetime masterpiece from Tom Brady. And again, he's not just conventionally accurate, he's calculated accurate. He's got genius accuracy where he's throwing balls, you could certainly appreciate this, to whatever height the receiver is, he's playing to his strengths. So he throws the low bullet to James White just beyond the goal line for the touchdown because James White's 5'10", and he throws it at his shoe tops so that nobody can defend that play. Then he threw one up the seam to Brandon Cooks, who's 5'10", and he hits him just at the knees. Nobody can defend it, and it keeps and protects the receiver from any huge collision.
Yes, that was mainly what that was about. That's not so much his height. That was for that single high safety from decapitating.
Yeah, so that's exactly right. And then if we could just see one play, because you've questioned the athletic ability of one Tom Brady and said he doesn't belong in the greatest living athlete discussion because he's not that athletic, but he moves in the pocket, moves up, steps back up. That was 3 big steps in the pocket and threw the sweetest out route to Gronkowski, who is double covered on the play. It's just such a good throw on 3rd and 8. It's a huge throw in the game. It's a momentum buster for Atlanta. And it
is terrible defense by the Falcons.
Okay.
59, you have help to the post.
You've got 2 people, and they just can't. They still can't cover it.
Skip.
But he's going to get it up high right here.
No, but Skip, all he has to do, 59 should run that route for him. You have help to the post. Why are you trying to defend the post when the safety is in the hole?
Because Brady had already looked right,
doesn't.
and come clear back across left.
Skip,
wow.
Skip, please.
You got to understand, if you're cluing at all, you're going to slow down.
Skip,
oh, he's going to throw it behind me. No, he's going to throw it to Gronkowski.
Skip, please, let me understand this route. Let me explain this route to you and explain the route to the viewers. They have him double covered. 59 should run the corner route. If he goes to the post, who's in the hole? The safety is there. You run the 7 route. This is why understanding your technique, understanding what the defense called for. You do not have the post. The safety has the post. The linebacker is supposed to run underneath the corner route. So when he nods you to the post, you keep going to the corner. So don't worry about it. You go on to that post. Neil's going to knock you out. I'm going to go to the corner. I'm going to wait for you over here. That's the way you're supposed to play that coverage.
Tom Brady's sweetest feet in the pocket I have ever seen, including Joe Montana. He creates more space and buys more time with his feet, with his footwork, avoiding the rush. It's subtle. It's not spectacularly athletic, but it works. And that was a huge play. And again, you say his arm's just sort of average, but there's some mustard on that.
It gets from point A to point B.
Yeah, it got there. Which brings us to the defense. I said at the time during the offseason that I thought the addition of Stephon Gilmore was the free agent move of the entire offseason. And they paid Stephon Gilmore a ton of money, 5 years, $65 million with $40 million guaranteed. I am to the point now where I was dead wrong about that. It might have been the worst free agent signing of the offseason because Stephon Gilmore does not fit in what they do. And fortunately, right on schedule, he's got a concussion. And I'm not doubting that he does have a concussion, but it was a big break for the New England Patriots because all of a sudden they throw this kid from Stanford, undrafted, Batamosi, who they had acquired as a special teams player. They throw him into the starting lineup in place of Stephon Gilmore. And then they throw the other kid, Jonathan Jones, into the starting rotation as a nickelback in place of an Eric Rowe, who they had acquired, who was there. So last night they were out without two of their top three cornerbacks.
Okay, yeah.
Batamosi and Jonathan Jones. And every time I looked up last night, Batamosi or Jonathan Jones had hands-on football. They're all over the field making plays. Batamosi was tied for the lead on the team with 7 tackles. What? So all of a sudden, the cogs, it's like the sum of the parts is greater than the whole, right? So you look at what they're doing. This is Belichick all over again. I don't know how they do it, but it's the system on defense is better than the stars.
Right. Well, I think the thing is for when you get a guy, say like Gilmore, Skip, he's set in his ways. He plays coverage a certain style, and this is the way he likes to play.
Yeah.
When you get a guy that you can mold, so they're getting these guys that they can mold and they can fit. They don't have any bad habits, so they'll listen to what you say. But if you watch them the way they play, they understand where the leverage is and what I'm playing. When they play 22-man, which is 2 deep safeties, split, and everybody's playing across the board, we call it cover 5. So 3 plus 2 is 5. That's why you get the coverage cover 5. So I'm explaining it to people at home. 22-man. He understands. I have help over the top. I can be as physical as I need to be underneath because I know if you run by me, I got 2 safeties to cover everything. They know where the leverage is. So if you're trying to beat me to the inside, okay, I still got a safety that can come down and take you out. I'm going to play everything hard. That they understand that, and that's what you have to do, Skip. When you play coverages, you can't get so caught up, and it happened a lot when I was playing. I was a guy kind of like what Gronk, and people wanted to get interceptions against me so bad, Skip, because that was going to make I got to pick up John Elway throwing the ball to Shannon Sharpe. Well, if you got help to the post, why would you honor a post fake when the safety is in the hole? You have the corner. So when the best guy I've ever seen play this coverage was Corey Harris. He was in Baltimore with me. Skip, I couldn't beat him. I was like, dude, I went 2 steps to the post. He said, I don't care. He said, there's Rod in the hole. I know you. If you go to the hole, Rod got you. I'm worried about the 7 route. Skip, I could go 2 steps and you would see Corey. He'd be on the film. He would be running to the 7. He said, Shay, I know you coming out here. That's what you have to do. You have to play your responsibilities. You can't get caught up in who you're playing and trying to get a big play against him. Play your responsibilities and let the chips fall where they may.
So Stephon Gilmore has already proven to be a little too cool for this system. He's his own man. He's got $40 million guaranteed, which is a lot of money.
A lot of money.
And he's going to do on his island, he's going to be on Revis Island, except he's not Darrell Revis.
No, not even close.
And there's no communication. And what did Malcolm Butler say on NBC after the game? Oh, we communicated tonight. They had allowed an NFL record, 6 straight games of 300-plus yard passing. And last night they held Matt Ryan to 233?
Right.
Wow. With really 3 undrafted free agents out of college.
But you have to look at it. But you also have to look at it, Skip. And I know people are looking at this saying, well, they held Matt Ryan to 232, but they also gave up 5.5 yards a clip on the run. See, the Falcons' run game is very prominent because they have Freeman and Coleman. But what makes them dynamic is Freeman and Coleman's ability not only to run the football, but to catch the ball outside. They can put him in the slot. They line Coleman outside and have him run routes. So when you look at it, with the exception of Kansas City, nobody else has a running attack that they faced quite like what Atlanta has. So it's misleading to just look at Matt Ryan's stats and say he had 232 passing. They didn't have a whole lot of plays. So now you minimize the plays because the Patriots offense is on the field. But they're getting 5.5 yards a clip running the football. You just don't have enough opportunities to take full advantage of what you can do against the Patriots defense. Give the Patriots some credit. Tom Brady understood because when they scored that touchdown to make it 23-7, I think, Julio Jones made that great catch over Malcolm Butler. There was still like 3.5, 4 minutes on the clock. You know the Patriots are going to run it. They line up in double tight, and the Falcons couldn't get the ball back. I know, and that's when you know you got something special. I used to look, when we get in 4-minute offense, when you get into a 4-minute offense, that's 4 minutes or less in the ball game, and you do not want the defense, the opposing team offense to get back on the field. When you can line up, Skip, and just run the ball, they know you're going to run it. And you say, here we come. What you going to do?
Patriot offensive line was back last night.
And they couldn't do anything.
Nope. And I'm going to say it again. Since that Super Bowl debacle in Houston last February, I know it was foggy in Foxborough last night.
Was it fog or pyrotechnics or a combination?
I think it was just pure fog.
Well, you remember the '88 Philly-Chicago game.
I watched it.
Yeah.
I wasn't there, but I watched it. But to me, Atlanta has basically played in a fog since that collapse in the Super Bowl, except for the Aaron Rodgers Sunday night game in Atlanta when Aaron made 2 shockingly uncharacteristic errors at the end of the first half and early in the second half. That was that ball game.
That led to points on both occasions.
It did. 14-point swing right there. Otherwise, you look at what Atlanta's done, and they just have lost their way. So they averaged a league high last year, 34 points a game. So far this year, 21.3. That's a shocking decline. And your former neighbor, Matt Ryan, the reigning MVP, has lost his way. And I'm going to say it again. He left most of his confidence, a large part of his confidence, on that Houston field in the second half of that Super Bowl. And I don't think he's recovered. I'm not sure his psyche will ever quite recover because, to me, Matt Ryan has always reminded me of a more talented Alex Smith in that they're both really nice guys. I've been around both of them, especially around Matt Ryan, had him on the show.
Yeah.
And they're underconfident. They have fragile confidence. And if it gets shattered, it really gets shattered. And Matt Ryan has lost some of his nerve and his verve in the pocket because last year he got hotter and hotter, more and more confident. Now, last night, he missed some throws in the red zone that could have tilted the game.
But Skip, if you look at what he accomplished in the Super Bowl, he had a quarterback rating of 144.1. He really made 2 mistakes. One of them was not his fault because Devontae Freeman, Tevin Coleman had gotten hurt or played before. Coleman would have been in there. I believe Coleman would have picked up the blitzing Hightower. Okay, that. And he took the sack. You can't take a sack when you're in field goal range. And that's what those were the 2 plays that he had. Because if you look at it, Skip, he was almost flawless last year in the Super Bowl outside of those 2 mistakes. Now, this year, he's turning the ball. He kind of reverted back to the old Matt Ryan and turning the ball over. What's shocking to me is that 2 weeks ago, they had a 17-point lead against the Miami Dolphins. And the Dolphins felt so confident that they still pounded Jay Ajayi. And he ran the ball for over 130 yards. This defense is built to play with a lead. They race out to a big lead. They take the run element out of it. Now they can just pin their ears back. Vic Beasley, Claiborne, Jarrett. They can come get you.
But it's a smallish that relies mostly on speed. And you can bully them. You can bull elephant them with your offensive line.
And that's what. And if they have to sit in and they have to worry about being able to run, and they just can't. If they have to worry about you running the ball, and they just can't jump off the rock and try to go get your quarterback, because they're so small, Skip, that's going to be a problem for them. But they're going to have to get back. If they think they're going to win a championship or get to a championship because of their defense, they're sadly mistaken. You know what? Even though Steve Sarkisian keeps failing upward, I'm willing to give it. This is not his system. Kyle Shanahan left the system here. He had to learn it. So he's still trying to find, okay, what do I do? But I tell you what you can't do, you can't let Julio Jones have 3 catches midway through the third quarter. You can't do that.
He'll be the fall guy for this. He's going to be the scapegoat. I won't be surprised if they let him go in the next couple of weeks.
Well, Richard Smith, who's the defensive coordinator, they let him go. Brian Cox, who's the D-line coach, they let him go. When they said, no one is to blame, but considering that you fired 2 defensive coaches immediately after the Super Bowl, lets me know that you were assigning blame to someone.
Somebody's got to be blamed for it. I mean, it's always a collection.
So last quick question. Are you ready to say New England is now the best team in the NFL?
No, I'm not ready to say that.
Okay.
No, I'm not.
Who is it? Philly?
We'll find out.
Oh, okay.
We'll find out. I mean, you didn't say that when they lost to Carolina. They were the best team.
I just go by what I see on Sunday. I know what I saw last night.
What do you always say? You got to update your resume.
Yeah.
So okay, they lose next week. What are you gonna say? They're still the best team?
They're not going to lose next week.
But I know who will lose next week.
Oh, let's get to
Case
that.
of Duke.
No mercy.
The Cowboys bounced back from their 2-game losing streak yesterday and blew out the 49ers 40-10. Dak Prescott threw 3 touchdown passes and ran for another, and Ezekiel Elliott had a huge game with 219 total yards and 3 touchdowns of his own. Zeke's suspension is still in question, but he wants to keep the focus on the field.
With all the things that you have going on, how much of a release is it to go and play an actual game?
I put that aside when I get with these guys. These guys do a good job, giving me something else to think about, just, keeping me up, no matter what's going on out there. And I'm just happy to, be out here and be able to play with them and go get another win.
He just went out there and just played the game, put everything behind him, and stayed within himself, stayed within the game, stayed within each and every play, and did what he does best.
Shannon, how impressive were the Cowboys?
I was impressed that they took care of business. But let's be abundantly clear. The 49ers are not very good. And when you're playing a team that's not very good, what do, Skip? You jump on them, let them know they're not very good, and they will give up. And that's what happened. So kudos to the Dallas Cowboys. You don't meddle around with a team, and here we are in the second half, a team that you should be beating by 14, 21 points. Now all of a sudden it's a 3-7-point ball game. They're playing with fire and emotion, and you got a ball game when this game could have been over in the first half. The Cowboys came out, they established Zeke. Zeke ran the football exceptionally well. Dak threw the football exceptionally well. But let's be abundantly clear, Skip. I'm not saying Zeke is going to run the football like this against everybody. But when he runs the ball like this, and this offensive line is as dominant as they are, they can go places. But they only can go places if there's 2-1. That 2-1, he was on one yesterday. So, and that's why Jerry's fighting so hard to keep him on the field. But old commission making phone calls behind the scenes right now. This thing's supposed to happen.
Got to put an end to this?
Hey,
yeah.
I know you're supposed to hear this thing on the 30th, but that'll give him another game up in his belt.
Now they want it on the 27th.
Yeah. We got to move this thing on up. Hey, commission say, I ain't forgot about you, Zeke.
Before the head judge comes back from vacation, they want the
temporary
second string judge.
Yeah,
right?
hold up. Hold up. Do you sit on the bench? Okay then, because what was to happen if the number one judge was incapacitated or something like that, had to get emergency surgery? You would have to hear cases. We can't wait this out. So come on, hear this case. Hey, do what you're supposed to do. Skip, the 49ers are not very good. How many wins do the Cowboys have, Skip?
3. You know how many they have.
Wait.
Let's ask Steve Owens.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Here?
Don't do that.
Heisman winner.
Skip, why would you do that?
Where is he?
Why would you do that?
Why do you ask me? You know how many they have? They have 3.
Steve told me his wife does not like his name being mentioned on air because he's walking down the street and everybody's coming up to him.
Really?
Yeah.
He's now a famous researcher.
So let me get this right. They have 3 wins. Let's see. 3. They beat the Giants 1-6. They beat the 49ers 0-7. And they beat
Arizona.
Hold up.
I'm helping you out. I'm doing your research for you over here.
So they got 3 wins over a team that's won a combined how many games, Skip? This many. Is that good? Are any of the teams that they beat, are they playoff bound? No, they're not.
What'd your researcher tell you?
Don't do that, Skip.
I don't know.
Why would you do that?
I don't know.
I'm talking to you. My researcher's in the back, pulling some more notes.
Tell me when it's my turn.
It's not your turn just yet. It's still my turn. I'm giving the Cowboys credit, Skip. Pat them on the back. Dak played well, but the engine that makes this thing run is that old Zeke, that 2-1. As long as he can, and I'm not saying he's going to rush for $147. I'm not saying he's going to have 3 touchdowns. But when they can get some kind of resemblance of a running game like this, that means they're going to possess the ball. That means that defense is not going to be on the field. That's their formula for success. Now, if you think Dak Prescott's going to throw the ball 35, 40 times and they're going to win, you sadly mistaken, Mr. Bayless.
Well, when would they ever do that? They didn't do that last year ever. They don't do that.
I'm not talking about last year. I'm talking about this year. Look at the games they lost. What did they try to do?
Well, they didn't try to do it. Zeke couldn't go anywhere, so they were forced to do it.
I'm just saying, all I'm saying, Skip, if the Cowboys are going to go where you think they can, that 2-1 needs to be the key, not 4. Now it's your turn.
My turn?
Yes.
Thank you. Yesterday did my heart good. I was extremely impressed and re-inspired by what I saw from the tour de force Cowboys yesterday in Santa Clara, California. Because I remind you, as bad as these 49ers have been record-wise, the previous 5 games, they had lost by 3 points or fewer. That's 5 straight losses by a grand total of 13 points, which means they were a game football team. They were hanging in game after game after game.
You said something before the 3 points, the last 5 games. You said something in before that. What was that? What was that word? L-O-S-T. Lost.
They lost.
So they were over. They weren't very good. Okay, continue on, please, sir.
And yesterday, the team that had lost 5 straight games by 3 points or fewer fell behind 40-3 because it got crushed by a potential juggernaut that we have not seen all year long. And this was exactly what the doctor ordered for the 4-game stretch that is upcoming, because my Cowboy season starts now. You can wipe away all those 3s and 3s. I don't care about anything that's transpired up to this point, because this team is poised for takeoff at Washington, Kansas City, at Atlanta, and then those invincible Eagles come to Jerry World. I don't think we have a chance. I don't know. We
2-2 at best.
Yeah, 2-2.
2-2
How
at
about
best.
4-0 at best?
You want to
How
put
about
do on that right now?
No, I don't need any do. I just got a feeling. I just got a really good feeling, because I saw great
Well,
things
Gold Bond to
yesterday.
take care of that feeling
And
you got.
the only caveat to all this, my only disqualifier could be the clutchest kicker in pro football pulled his groin in pregame warm-ups. You have him on your fantasy team.
Damn.
Right now, he's nothing more than just a fantasy in my mind, because he tweaked it in warm-ups, his groin, and then he pulled it on the second kickoff after the second Cowboy touchdown.
Why would you have him kicking off if you know his groin is already
Well, apparently he was okay up to that point, and it went. And I don't know how far it went, if he tore it or just pulled it, or how quickly he can come back. But I've told you before, I don't love Jeff Heath at safety, and I definitely don't love him place kicking for my Dallas Cowboys.
He did
Even
pretty
though
good.
He made one right down the middle at the end. He made an extra point.
Yeah.
And one kickoff, he got it all the way to the end zone. I know he kicked in high school. Now they got to go out and sign some failed kicker that somebody else cut, because that's how
Sign
you do
Aguayo.
it. You recycle. Aguayo. How about Nick Folk, a former Cowboy?
Yeah.
He was a disaster at Tampa Bay,
Yeah.
right? Disaster. Both of them were disasters.
Well, sign one of them.
Yeah.
Maybe
well,
it's just Tampa Bay.
maybe it's just Tampa Bay. Maybe you go to Jerry World and you say, bright lights, big city, here I am, I'm back.
But what I'm having a hard time understanding is that teams that have winning records, why don't the Cowboys win against those teams?
Okay, I told you they haven't even started yet. You can throw all that out your window. I'm going to throw it all out because it starts now, because yesterday was the first time all through the 2017 season that I saw 2016 Ezekiel Elliott from the start.
Against the 49ers?
From the start. I don't care. They've been okay against the run. They've been middle of the pack against the run.
They're over.
Okay, well, I'm just telling you, from his first carry yesterday, I saw burst, I saw explosion, I saw body lean, I saw will not be denied. And I thought Jerry Jones had some interesting quotes. I'm going to just read you the highlights of these quotes after the game. He said Zeke was driven. He had an air about him before the ball game, a peace of mind. He was in as good a frame of mind as he's been in all year. Why? Because it got pushed back, his ruling in Manhattan court. I don't know why.
It got pushed back at the beginning of the season.
I don't know.
What happened? So let me. So
I don't know. I think he was just ready to rock yesterday.
Against that team, a team that
You
had.
need to get healthy, mentally healthy. This team had lost a little winning edge.
Okay, so
40-3 it was
Okay,
at one
I'm
point.
just trying to make sure I'm understanding. He got healthy against an 0-6 team that now has on its 4th coach
Just what the
in 4
doctor
years.
ordered.
And
I don't care what you say. You can tell me they're starting a rookie quarterback in his first ever NFL start, though he played against Washington, played very well.
But at the end result, what happened? Did they win or lose when he played at Washington? They have film on C.J. Beathard right now. So how did he look?
40-3, I'm reminding you, and you continue to discredit the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, whose QBR continues to be the second best in all of football. He's playing at an even higher level this year than he played at last year. And one area that is completely underrated about Dak Prescott, he gets no credit for being as effective a clutch runner as a quarterback as there is in the NFL. He ran 4 times yesterday. First down, 13 yards. First down, 8 yards. First down, 7 yards. Quarterback draw, touchdown. So he ran 4 times, got 3 first downs and a touchdown. I'd say that's clutch, effective running.
Skip.
Hey.
Look.
And by the way, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, QBR of 80. I don't know what else you could ask for.
But I think we need to temper our expectations. They beat an 0-16.
They needed it.
Starting with a rookie quarterback.
They needed it.
Now I'll tell you what, we'll find out a lot more about the Dallas Cowboys over the next month.
Sure we will.
Than we did. So, because I know you want to disregard everything that's happened the past 6 weeks, unfortunately we can't. They still have those 3 L's on their resume.
Yeah.
So going forward, we're about to see if they are who you say they are.
What's their division record? What'd Steve Owens tell you?
It doesn't matter.
1-0. Oh, they're undefeated in the division.
So
now it starts.
Hold on. So how many games have they played in the division?
1.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And guess what?
Yeah.
My defense yesterday did something I didn't think was possible. They forced 3 turnovers.
Skip against the 49ers?
I'll take it. It's contagious.
Against the 49ers.
You know how it goes. You start thinking, gee, we got this. We got this. David Irving was healthy. He was
They're
wreaking
semi-pro
havoc.
team. They're a semi-pro team.
Yeah. They'd lost 5 straight games by 3 points or less. That's not semi-pro to me.
Hold on. But no. You said they've done what? What did you say? No, Steve didn't tell me this. What did you say they had done?
They almost won. That's what I said. They almost won 5 straight games. They almost won.
You know
That's
what?
impressive.
And you're going to sit there with a straight
I didn't
face.
use the L word.
Yeah, why not?
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, they lost.
Guess what else my defense had yesterday? 5 sacks. And the 49ers have protected their quarterbacks pretty well all year. 5 sacks. And what happened when it looked like they were about ready to cut the halftime lead to 20-10? DeMarcus Lawrence Taylor happened. Whoosh! Here he comes from the right side, and he nearly decapitated poor C.J. Beathard and certainly separated him from the football, sack fumble, and that was basically the ball game.
No, the ball.
40-3.
The ball game
Yeah.
was when this was on the schedule.
So, America, I have to remind you, this man sitting across from me was so down on my Dallas Cowboys and so up on the 49ers that for 2 weeks during the bye week, he was saying he was going to predict the 49ers would beat the Cowboys. But when it came to rubber meets this road right here between us, what happened? Somebody folded his tent across from me and said, well, I don't know.
I tell you what, you can say a lot of things about Mary Porter. She might have raised a fool, but she didn't raise a damn fool.
Okay.
You must have thought I was a D fool, think I was going to pick
You were the one
You're
who
the one
kept
that
saying
said
it.
it.
I thought about it. I thought about
You
it.
said, I'm going to pick the 49ers, and I said, do it.
I promise
As in D-E-W
If I'd have done everything that I thought about, 1 or 2 things would have happened. I'd have probably been dead by now or in the penitentiary. So glad my better judgment wins out.
Yep.
But going forward.
And finally, can I borrow a phrase from my friend Shannon?
No! Don't use my phrase.
DJ, drop that track of Jason Witten. We got to see this, please. We got to see the play of the day in the National Football League. Zing! Wait a minute. Jason Witten, old, washed-up Jason Witten, one hand caught it. Did you see this? Look at this. He snatched it with one hand. Did you see the speed? Did you see the separation?
Wasn't no speed.
Did you see a guy that you say you could outrun right here, right now, at age 51?
With Croc shoes on and a bow tie.
That was the play of the day. Throw of the day, play of the day.
I'm going to a meeting after I leave here.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What kind?
The brotherhood. The brotherhood.
Okay. I love that play. Didn't you love it?
No.
I wanted to be where you were.
I
wanted to be a fly on your wall.
He was probably the 3rd option in that progression. And for Dak to come back, that was the only place that he could throw it. Jason Witten made a great catch. Give him kudos.
Good. You said great catch.
Skip. It's the
Jason Witten. He's the pillar of this team.
How many games do you believe the 49ers will win this year?
I don't care. We left him for dead, man.
Oh, y'all left him for dead.
Yeah.
I can't even believe.
Well,
like
I don't care.
Skip,
They're in my rear view now. I don't care.
Skip, they were on.
Season starts today.
They was on life support when you got there.
Come on, Shannon. You know that was a trap game.
What were they trapping?
You thought it was a trap game. You almost fell into it.
Listen, I don't really call fishing if you got a net and you drag it. That's not fishing. Okay? Fishing is like you got to throw the line, whether you're from the shore or a boat. But dragging a net behind the boat, that's not fishing, Skip. I'm sorry.
No mercy.
The Seahawks won 24-7 yesterday against the Giants, but it wasn't easy. Seattle's offense struggled again, scoring just 3 points in the first half. In the second quarter, Doug Baldwin was shown shoving offensive line coach Tom Cable on the sidelines. Pete Carroll said Baldwin was upset because he wanted Russell Wilson to talk to the offense before Cable did. A cooler-headed Baldwin explained what happened after the game. Let's take a listen.
I lost my cool. It's 100% my fault. At that moment, I was really frustrated with the team as a whole, offense as a whole. Not the coaching staff, the players. Again, it goes back to our X's and O's. We had the play calls, we just didn't execute. Whether it was passing the ball, blocking, catching, jumping off sides, false starting, whatever it may be, we weren't executing as players. And to me, there's nothing a coach can say. We have to take accountability for that. And so I got a little passionate about it. Y'all know I love Cable to death. Me and Cable have one of the best relationships from coach to player. So that was 100% my fault. And I already apologized to him. He knows how I am. It's just at that moment, the players needed to realize it's the players, it's not the coaches.
Shannon, is this a big deal or no big deal?
It's not a big deal, but it's not a good look. He's also frustrated with the NFL too. Also, that kind of slipped out. He's frustrated with them as well. For me, Skip, I guess I wasn't passionate. I guess I didn't care about the game because I've never shoved a player on the sideline. I've never screamed at a coach. I've never even cursed a coach.
Ever put your hands on a coach?
No.
Thank you.
And one damn sure better not put his hands on me or a player. For me, if a coach says he wants to speak, I'm going to let him speak because he's in an authoritative position. And for Doug Baldwin to do what he did is unacceptable. Now, I like the fact that he came out, he upset. I talked to Tom, I apologized to him. I lost my cool. I was frustrated. But this is what happens when you have expectations and things are not going. You're playing a 1-6 ball club. You know you're better than they are. I don't know what's happened to Jimmy Graham's hands, but hey, maybe he left them up there. Maybe he was flying them in from Seattle. He's a pilot. So maybe he left his hands on that crop dust that he was flying in from Seattle. When you're better than a team and you're dropping passes, you're missing assignments, you're missing blocks, guys are not doing what they're supposed to do on your side of the football, it becomes frustrating. And maybe Tom Cable wanted to address the offensive line because they were getting pressure on Russ. Russ played one of his better games.
He did.
Because yesterday they couldn't run the football, and he had to be spectacular, and he was. They won this game because of Russ. The defense is going to be the defense. Yeah, they'll have a little here and there, but probably 12 to 13 times out of the year, they're going to show up for you, and they're going to be their dominant selves. So they're going to keep the game. They're going to keep you in the game. And for Doug, and looking at Doug and reading his body language, he's a guy, he is an emotional guy. He works hard. He puts a lot of time in. He puts a lot of thought in it. So, and for it to bubble over like it did yesterday, that's not normal. He strikes me as a guy that's normally, although he's very tightly strung, he's able to control his emotions. And we don't normally see that get outside. Or maybe he might yell or scream, and that something might happen on the practice field or in a meeting room, but that's normally wouldn't be seen by the public. So for him to let it get out of hand, it lets you know that this was really, really bothering him. But I don't excuse his behavior. You don't push a coach. You don't push a player. You keep your hands to yourself because you don't know. What if Tom, Tom's wildly strong also. What if he pushes back? Cooler heads prevailed. Tom took a step back. Maybe Russell talked. Tom, Doug, they worked it out. But in the future, guys, keep your hands to yourself. I don't care who you are.
I don't care what your position is on the team. I don't care if you're a head coach or you're a position coach. These are grown-ass men. Keep your hands to yourself, because just like you're emotional and tightly strung, a lot of these guys are built the same way. That's how they got there.
I am with you. Although, not with your conclusion of this, I do think it's a big deal. At least it would be on any other team except this team.
Right.
Maybe you can say it's a little deal for this
Right.
team because it happens just about every week.
And no telling what goes on the practice field.
And maybe I'm going to come across as grumpy old man on this one, but all a number of the coaches I covered or spent a lot of time around, Don Shula, Bill Walsh, Tom Landry, and especially Jimmy Johnson, if this had happened on their sideline, said player would be sent to the locker room. It just wouldn't be tolerated.
No.
I don't know, like Jimmy Johnson, given the right place, right time, said player would be off the football
you
team.
cut him.
It's a line you just don't cross unless you're Pete Carroll's Seattle Seahawks. He gives them so much leeway.
Yeah.
He encourages them to be their own man.
Yeah.
And so Doug Baldwin is emotional, sometimes to a fault. I respect that. He's a fighter. He's a little bit of an overachiever type, and it just bubbled over.
Yes.
But he knew in the back of his mind, in his psyche, he knew my head coach lets us get away with this.
course.
He encourages us
Yes.
to be us.
Yeah.
So he was being himself.
Correct.
To a fault.
Yes.
And it's shocking to my eyes because I'm just not used to it. But this team seems to thrive on internal combustion. It just, I don't understand it, but it seems like every Sunday, it's player
Something.
versus player, it's defense versus quarterback, it's player versus coach. It's always something because it's the way Pete Carroll manages the football team or doesn't manage it.
Well,
He's
you do, Skip. You have to be very careful when you give the players this much latitude, because when you say, okay, be yourself, if there's something on your mind, hey, say it. If you're feeling a certain type of way,
Yeah.
But you got to be very, very careful, because when players feel that there are no boundaries,
Yeah.
if there are no boundaries, so what's to stop me from going here or there? Because there are no boundaries. For me, I want boundaries. I want to stay in my place as far as the relationship with the coach. And I only really had one rule. Skip, I told Mike Shanahan and Brian Billick, you can coach me in front of the team. You can coach me hard, but I won't allow you to curse me.
Yeah.
That was the only rule I had, Skip. I didn't have no yelling and what are you doing? You got, hey.
And as you said, the reverse of this, to put hands on players, that would be out of bounds for you also. You wouldn't accept it.
Now, last time, that was about 12 or 13. No, ain't nobody else. If you didn't give me life, you didn't feed me, you better not touch me.
And by the way, Tom Cable, he knows how to use his fists. He's had incidents where he has punched other coaches on the
Yes.
sideline. So I'm not sure Doug Baldwin could win that fight if it became a fight. But it shouldn't come to this. Like, it's absurd that we're even having this conversation. But you did pick the Seahawks to win the Super Bowl.
Yes.
And I must tell you right now, I'm not disagreeing with your pick because this team found itself in the second half of all teams against the Indianapolis Colts. Remember, I'm just going back a couple of weeks,
Yes.
and I complimented them the next day because to Jacoby Brissett, they were down 15-10 at halftime, and in the second half, they scored 36, I think unanswered, or they scored 36 in the second half, and they just exploded.
Right.
And then you thought they were going to have a hard time against the Rams at the Rams.
Yeah.
I picked Seattle just on experience and savvy and sort of mental toughness. And they trailed 10-0, and they bounced back and won that 16-10. And yesterday they trailed 7-0, and they bounced back and scored 24 unanswered, 21 in the second half. That'll work.
Yes.
I mean, because Russell Wilson played extraordinary football. That's 27 of 39, 334, 3 touchdowns, no interception. That's a big-time game.
Against that defense.
Yeah, which I thought was pretty great.
Their team isn't very good, Skip. But defensively, they still can get after you with JPP. They still got Jack Rabbit, and DRC Cromartie was back last.
Yeah.
Eli Apple is playing better. Landon Collins finished second or third in the MVP. They
But
got
I
some
think
players.
the ineptitude of the offense is now filtering in and affecting the defense. They're losing heart.
You see the Broncos. You see what's happening with them. When it gets tough, when you think about it, the Broncos fumble the ball. And the Chargers get 4 cracks from the goal. They didn't lose a yard,
Nope.
but they get the ball in the end zone.
Nope.
And it's like, okay, we got you. And then what? You do nothing. It's hard. It's hard to stay focused. And the thing that you can say about Seattle, Skip, is that Pete set no boundaries. But they got leadership in that locker room.
Mm-hmm.
They got guys that hold other guys accountable. And it doesn't matter. Nobody is above reproach from being like, Russell, you're not holding up your end of the deal. Doug Baldwin, you're not holding up your end of the deal. Sherman, Bennett, guys, you got to do. And when you have accountability, and it's not based on position where we can't tell the quarterback he ain't playing well, or we can't tell, we're on defense, we can't tell somebody. That's not how they operate in there. If somebody is not holding up to their obligation, they will let you know. And that's the best way to be, is to have
I got
personal accountability.
My history would tell me that this kind of team will implode at some point when it gets cold and late November, December, like it's just too hair trigger that it'll just explode. That's my gut feeling about this team, but week after week, I keep saying, man, this is just the Seahawks.
But this is who they are.
Yeah, that is their identity, and they're winning, so you got to give them credit for that. I have a really hard time believing that you never got in a fight with another player.
No, not on the sidelines. I hit a dude with a two-piece, but that was it. It was cold. We were in walkthrough, Skip. It was cold. It probably about 20 degrees, and so we were playing, and I said, man, stop. I'm done. When a man tells you to stop playing, Joey, you stop playing.
Wait, this is Romanowski.
No. This is before Romo got there.
Okay.
And so it was cold, and so I just caught a pass. I'm coming back, and he comes up behind me and hit the ball, and the ball hit me in my face. It hit me in my nose. And I just walked up to him, and I said, bro, pop.
You popped him?
Yeah, twice, two-piece.
Was he expecting it?
He's like, you for real? That dude just hit you in your face. What you think? I was done with it.
Then he knocked you down?
Please. hey, I keep telling them.
Yeah.
Sometimes, Skip, they let the TV gig fool them. They're all sharp. He all dressed up here.
No, you got that bow tie on.
No mercy.
Cam Newton and the Panthers lost 17-3 to the Bears yesterday. Cam had a game he would like to forget, finishing with no touchdowns and 2 interceptions. He has now thrown 5 picks in the last 2 games. Let's take a listen to Cam.
I'm disappointed. Disappointed is it's no excuse not to come in and find a way to win this football game. We squandered that opportunity, but I'm not feeling sorry for myself, nor am I expecting anybody else to. Life goes on, and we just got to get ready for our next opponent.
We're joined by Fox NFL analyst Michael Vick. Welcome, Michael. Good morning. Shannon,
yes.
Start with you. How do you explain this?
Cam is just inconsistent. He's Jekyll and Hyde, and he's going to have to find a way, Mike and Skip, to not. We know when he's all-time great, they're tough to beat, and we realize that you're not going to throw for 350 and 3 touchdowns every game, but you can't have 350 and 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and then all of a sudden come back and have a performance like this. In their wins, 4 wins, 8 TD passes, 2 INTs. In their 3 losses, 1 TD pass, 8 INTs. You're not winning like that. He has to find a way to somehow not have the peaks and valleys, but find a way to have a 220, 250-yard game with 2 touchdowns, and they win. This is only the second time since 2011 that a team has won a game in which they completed less than 5 passes. The last time, when that happened, who was the quarterback when that happened, Joey?
Tim Tebow.
Wow. You win a ball game. You complete 4 passes. You only attempted 7, and you have 5 first downs, and you beat a team, and it wasn't even close. That's unacceptable. This goes to Cam. Cam, you have to find a way. You can't be up here. We don't expect you to play 300 yards passing and 3 touchdowns every game. But these 1, 2, 3 turnover games, and you don't even give your team a chance to win, you can't have it. Because now once you become an MVP player in this league, the expectations, they expect you to play at an MVP level. And you look at Tom Brady, you look at Rodgers, you look at these guys, they might have bad games, but they're never having a good game like this. And Cam, they can't have that. If they want to be, now this division is a lot better than what it was when Cam went 15-1. You have to understand that. But Cam's play is too herky-jerky, is too all over the board, and that's why you get the inconsistency with the Panthers.
I mean, you're right. To come into Chicago and not score, a touchdown, I think was very disappointing. I think a lot of the responsibility is on Cam.
Yes.
But you look at the guys that, plays with him. Christian McCaffrey, he was supposed to be an integral part of the offense. He didn't show up. Whether it was the offense or it was Cam not being able to find him, that's a concern.
Right.
Calvin Benjamin, non-existent. I mean, these are guys that needs to help Cam, but Cam also has to find a way to win these games, especially on the road, which he's played so well.
Yes.
You look at New England, you look at Detroit. I really thought Cam would, be the best player on the field yesterday.
Yes.
It was show, that he's one of the most talented guys at the quarterback position. And, it's just disheartening that he wasn't able to get it done. And this team is different without Luke Kuechly being on the field.
Absolutely.
Big deal.
The winning percentages drop, and it's not the same team. But Cam has to find a way to pick it up, when this team needs him the most. That's why they pay him the big bucks.
As you watched him stand at the podium, you've stood in those shoes before, in tough spots. Did you empathize? What were your emotions?
You know what? I empathize with Cam because you look at the turnovers. I mean, those are things that are out of your control. If you look at the speed option play, when he pitched it, maybe he pitched it too hard. Maybe he shouldn't have pitched it at all. But, that's a turnover that you can't control, the interception. I've been a part of those where the ball gets tipped, it goes up in the air, but that's just part of the quarterback position. We take the blame for that. That's the reason we're sitting here talking about him now. Correctable mistakes, I think, but they have to get on the roll at some point. It's been too inconsistent.
So for 6+ years now, I have tried to love Cam Newton. I've tried. I liked him coming out of Auburn. I was all for taking him first overall.
Yeah.
And every time I get like one arm back around him, then he slips away from me. And I say, God, what was that? Yesterday just left me so disappointed, as did last week. And usually Cam thrives on these during the week controversies, as we saw before. And then last week, out of nowhere, he decides to skip his weekly media session for the first time when he's been healthy in his 6+ seasons.
Correct. Wow.
And everybody, it opens all the can of worms again. Or was it because the woman,
She was back, or he
came
didn't want
back?
to talk to her.
Yeah, what's going on? Well, who knows what was going on, but it just recreated all the controversy, and it potentially invalidated his apology about the.
Absolutely.
And I thought, well, usually when the spotlight shines the harshest on him, he rises and shines.
Right.
And man, at Patriots, again, I love QBR's 0 to 100 scale. He had an 87, and then at Lions, 88. Those are big time. They're very, you can count on one hand the quarterback's capable of pulling off those games in those places.
Right.
Seriously.
Yes. Right.
And then you say Jekyll and Hyde, for those our younger viewers. Hyde's the bad guy.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Although he was a monster, man. I mean, he was like unstoppable.
Yeah.
So maybe
He was
Hyde could be the better guy in the NFL. But anyway.
I think they did that backward. They should.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, but we've seen way too much of the bad Cam.
Yes.
And I look at his QBRs just for seasons, and they're always kind of in the middle. They're not great for the season because he has too many, too many valleys. Yeah. And this year he followed up 87 and 88 against the Eagles when, boy, I was rooting like crazy for him to beat the Eagles at home in that big night game. And he's 48, just a couple ticks below average. And then yesterday he was a 19 against Mitchell Trubisky.
Right. And think about it, Skip. Tom Brady and Rodgers and Breezes, these guys, they're not losing to a Mitchell Trubisky. They're not.
Find a way to win.
You got to find a way. And I don't care if you play. I don't care if you played in Trubisky's backyard.
How many times have we seen Aaron Rodgers going to Chicago and just throw a
Find ways to win.
Yes.
Find ways to win.
And that's the thing. And Skip, you mentioned it. His high is Mount Everest.
It is.
But his low is the lowest. It's like underground. I mean, because how do you go from like 87 and 88 to 49 and 19? A guy completed 4 passes against you. They only attempted 7, and you lose. I can see, you throw pick sixes, and the guy it lights you up. They get going. They attempted. Think about this. They attempted 7 passes in an entire NFL football game. And you lost to Mitchell Trubisky, who completed 4 passes.
What's mind-boggling to me is that they didn't get into the end zone. I mean, it's just no consistency in the play.
Nope.
And I don't want to see week to week Cam, playing good one week and not playing good the next week, because that's going to be equivalent to them being 8-8, sitting at home at the end of the year, and it's not the expectations that we set for
You know
Cam.
what happens, Skip? Is that they have Christian McCaffrey, but they have no idea how to use him.
Yep.
That's why I don't buy a whole lot of
the key.
electronics. You know why, Skip? Because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Why buy something? It's nice. Oh, you see that new gadget they got out? Why am I going to get it when I don't know what I'm doing? You got him, and Mike Shula has no idea. Because you heard Charlie Weiss. Charlie Weiss said, man, if I had that guy, ooh, I'm like, ooh, it's Christmas. It's Christmas.
I told you before the draft, he's a great kid, and he's not a bust, but you were overrating his NFL impact. I told you that before the draft. You're taking him so high that the expectations that you always talk about are just through the roof. And you played with his father, and it's a great family, and I get all that.
Right.
And he's going to fight his little tail off for you and all that, but I don't know if he's sudden enough, and he's not strong enough to run it between the tackles. So there's some Reggie Bush going on here, and he says he watched all the tape of Reggie Bush, but he's not as quick as Reggie Bush. He's not as explosive as Reggie Bush.
James White
That's just
caught
me.
14 passes in the Super Bowl.
He did.
Deion Lewis, if you
It's
find
funny you
him,
mentioned
gotta
James
find
White,
ways
because when
to
you
use
see
him.
Christian McCaffrey, you think he should be on the Patriots.
Yes!
Like, what would he be doing if he had Tom Brady? But Cam doesn't play like Brady. He doesn't have the steady hand there.
Something's missing.
Yep. Michael, thanks for joining us.
No mercy.
Marshawn Lynch has been suspended for one game for making contact with an official in Thursday's win against the Chiefs. Adam Schefter reports Lynch has already filed an appeal. Chiefs defensive back Marcus Peters was called for a late hit on Derek Carr, and Marshawn then ran onto the field and pushed an official. Raiders offensive lineman Donald Penn said Marshawn ran onto the field to protect Peters, who Marshawn is very close with. We're joined by Fox NFL analyst Tony Gonzalez. Welcome, Tony.
Hi.
Morning.
What's going on, guys?
Shannon, if you were Marshawn's teammate, would you have a problem with this?
No, because my job as a teammate is to understand each individual teammate and know what they will and won't do, know what they're capable of doing. You know Marshawn Lynch. You know this is what he's capable of. Now, people is looking like, well, Marcus Peters is not even his blood relative. That's not how he views it. And you know in our neighborhood, Joy, if we say somebody, that's my cousin or that's my brother.
That's my cousin.
That's as thick as blood. Now, I would have no problem. The Green Bay Packers playing the Denver Broncos, and my brother, I'm running on the field. One of my friends, Ray Lewis, I'm running on the field. Keith Burns, I'm running on the field. Absolutely. So that's just the way it is. You got to understand the circumstances. Now, the problem that I have is that the NFL said they suspended him for putting his hand on official. Now, see, you went down a slippery slope here. You should have said you suspended him for running on the field, because now you're going to get guys running on the field and say, well, I didn't touch the ref, so what are you suspending me for? What am I getting fined for? Go ahead and say, Marshawn, you left the sideline and entered into an altercation you had no business in. That's what we're suspending you for. We've seen guys shove officials before. The ejection and the fine is the punishment. But now you took it a step farther, saying it was because he grabbed the official, not because he left the sidelines. You should have addressed that. Leaving the sidelines, like basketball, is an automatic suspension. Skip, I don't have a problem with Marshawn because I understand who Marshawn Lynch is. And everybody on the Raiders I'm not going to say every, no such thing as all and every, but the majority of the players do not have a problem with Marshawn Lynch doing what he did because they know who Marshawn Lynch is.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. No, I don't have. Well, Marshawn Lynch is who he is, but I do have a problem with him coming off the bench. I don't. I know you said, okay, if that's your family, I'm trying to picture if that was one of my brothers out there on that field, I probably wouldn't have gone off because I understand that as soon as I leave, then a suspension. That's the rule. Isn't that the rule anyway, though? I know they're suspending him for touching the ref, but I think that's on top of that, and that's where I don't know.
Well, we've never seen this before, so we don't really know what the rule is.
Well, I'm just saying this. If that was me in the fight out there, and one of my really good friends came, I would be like, why'd you do that? You know, first of all, you're jeopardizing yourself. You're going to get yourself kicked out of the game. I can take care of myself.
Well, you ain't got no good friends then.
Well, I just wouldn't do it. I'd be like, I can handle myself.
No.
I wouldn't want you. And as a teammate of his, I would like, Marshawn, what are you doing? I know this is you, but like, we need you for the game. We don't. And Marcus Peters is a grown man. He can take care of himself. I don't need you to run a football field.
You ain't got no good friends then, Tony.
But this isn't a street fight. This is a football game. This isn't we're not at a bar. I can see it at a bar.
He still views him as family. And if my family don't come, I'm like, what the hell took you so long?
That's where we differ. That's where we differ.
Well, I'm glad to know.
Myself.
Skip, guess who I know I'm not going out with? Guess who?
There's a bar. Now, if we're at a bar and somebody's messing with Mr. Shannon Sharpe, I'm going to go up to him and be like, hey, leave Shannon alone. He's getting old. He can't handle himself. Now, if it's on a football field, I'm like, Shannon, you okay?
Well,
Take care of yourself.
Shannon claims he can deliver a two-piece, so.
First of all, when I'm on that, I'm on that yak. The yak make, that warm yak joy. All you want to do is take your shirt off and scrap.
Okay.
Who else want to mess with Hollywood Cole?
Let's put this back into perspective. Marshawn Lynch ran all the way out to the scrum to defend a player on the other team he considers like a little brother.
Yes.
And that player was being protected by his teammates.
Right.
It's just team versus team.
Right.
There's a lot of pushing and shoving. But it's not a street fight. He's not going to get hurt.
Yeah.
He's not going to get hurt.
Yeah.
Who gets hurt in those scrums?
Nobody.
Nobody. Okay. And said player, Marcus Peters, is viewed now by the Oakland Raiders as having taken a cheap shot at the Oakland quarterback who'd been stood up after he tried to fight for extra yards, and Marcus Peters came flying in and nailed him.
Right.
Now, Derek Carr had no problem with that after the game, but his teammates didn't know at that moment he had no problem with it because he's friends with Marcus Peters.
Right.
And maybe Derek Carr just said the right thing because any team would have a problem with the quarterback taking that kind of a shot from somebody running headlong to the end of a play.
Correct.
It's not allowed in the National Football League. And you would have defended your quarterback.
Absolutely, yes.
You've been willing to push and shove, not to swing.
Yes.
Nobody's going to swing.
Yeah, because all you can do is break your hand.
So for me, this is so out of bounds. It's so shocking. Now, if you want to put it in the context, like you say, that's just Marshawn being Marshawn, beast mode being beast mode. But trust me on this. If it's anybody but Marshawn Lynch, if it's just Joe Smith, who's averaged 32 yards rushing a game since the opener, not only is he in the doghouse with his teammates, I think he's cut.
Yes.
No, seriously.
Yes.
Because he hasn't been very impactful as a ball carrier for them. So he hasn't been very valuable.
But that's what I'm weighing it, Skip. That's Marshawn Lynch. And as a teammate, you have to know who your teammates are and what they're capable of doing. Tony, you know being in the locker room, you knew who you could joke with. You knew who you couldn't joke with. You know what you could say. You know what you couldn't say. When Marshawn Lynch comes to your football team, you already know. Somebody's called you from Seattle. Somebody's called you from Buffalo. It's like, this dude, hey, he a different one. Yeah, he on a different level now. So you know that.
But we both agreed on Friday after seeing that on Thursday night. That's like way out there. Like that's over the edge. It's like crazy stuff.
I don't know what he was thinking. That's what I'm saying. As soon as you run on that field, you know what's coming now. You're not allowed to do that. We know that.
But first I thought he just wanted to participate in the battle.
Yeah.
But he was defending his little brother on the other team.
When we say defending, I saw the tape. I mean, he's not like trying to fight somebody. He's just trying to get him away from the situation. That's what defending means.
It's just, for what was so odd about me is that in all my years of playing, I've never seen a guy leave the sidelines.
Ever.
No.
It's the first.
First of all, why am I trying to get up there? So you run up, like Rudy Tomjanovich, you run up on Kermit Washington, you don't know. And the first thing, what's the first thing?
I was there that night.
Stay out of the fight and don't, what trips me out, if a guy takes his helmet off and throws his helmet down and talk about want to fight. That's the protection you got. I'm not taking my helmet off.
You see it all the time, though.
Yeah.
Were you the type of player, because it happened, I remember we were coming out, we were playing against the Detroit Lions, and we came out of the same tunnel, what are they thinking, first of all? And, of course, before the game even starts, all of a sudden, whoop, 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 and then now there's a fight going on. And I'm back up, and I'm like, I'm not getting in there.
Yeah.
And I think it was in Dominican Sue. He comes over and he grabs me, like trying to scare, but joking around.
Yeah.
And he's like, you're not getting in? I'm like, no, I'm not getting in. These fools, we got to go play a game. I'm not doing this right now.
No. I ain't trying to wallow, you know what I'm saying? Skip.
Did you get in fights?
No.
If you saw your teammates, did you ever go over there and get in the middle of the scrap?
In a fight?
Anytime. It happens. It happens in practice. This happens in games.
Oh, yeah, now practice, I'm trying to break it up. Yeah, I'm grabbing.
But he did tell us earlier he sucker punched a guy in
I didn't sucker punch
you.
him.
Did too.
You sucker
weren't
punched
even.
him? No. Oh, man.
Skip, why you tell the story?
I didn't sucker punch him.
Huh?
Well,
Did you not give him a two-piece when he wasn't ready for it?
Okay, it was a good breast. That thing was stiff. I was snapping that thing, yop. And I was about to go. I was about to skip. It was only a one piece. I take that back. I caught it with a good solid right, and I was like, that's a teammate.
But it wasn't like a Miritich shot.
No,
no.
no.
That was a
Skip. It was not. It was Skip. But I wasn't. I was just trying to let him know I was done with it. So stop. Skip. I got like in college, my freshman year. Skip. You know we joning. We get into the locker. If you come in the cafeteria late, Shannon Sharpe at the back. I'm joning. I'm making what you got on. I'm a freshman. He a freshman. He a D lineman. Everybody else joining laughing. He gonna point me out. Took a swing, Skip. I had to do it.
But a defensive lineman, at least you.
I did it.
Took on somebody your own size.
He's way bigger than me.
I don't know.
Oh, he's way bigger.
I'm not a fighter.
I was 185.
I think we learned that about you today, Tony.
Yeah, I'm not a fighter. I'm a peaceful man.
Look at him.
We can talk. We can talk it out.
I'm peaceful too,
Talk
but
about what?
you know.
No, all that talking, no. We done talked enough. That's why we get to
There's
this
a time
point.
for talking, and then there's a time.
We got to knuckle up. Wall a little bit.
No, we can't
He
go
ain't
out
trying
with
to
Tony.
wall. You can tell he ain't trying
Liability.
to.
Tony in the back, like, get him.
He's straight from Newport on the surfboard, paddleboard. He ain't trying to wallow.
Cool, bro. We can talk it out.
We can get along.
Can I buy you a drink?
Yeah.
Dude, hey,
let's
Tony the type of dude be at the bar, they knock the drink out his hand, he buy the other dude a drink. Let me buy you a drink. Nah,
He's got to keep it all clean, you know?
I have done that before, Joe. I ain't
Yeah,
gonna lie.
I'm sure of it.
Joe,
I'm sure of it.
Dude,
Look,
knock the
that's
drink out here.
I'm smart.
We know it's not street fight, but that's not Marshawn. That's not how he looks at it.
That's not where he's from.
That's family, and that's not how he looks at it.
Oaktown, born and bred.
Thanks for joining us, Tony.
No mercy.
Thanks for listening to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm Joy Taylor. We're back again tomorrow morning at 9:30 Eastern. We'll see you then.
Fox Sports 1 of 1.